So I was on Facebook the other day, scrolling through my newsfeed, and a question popped up about super. More specifically, this person wanted to know how you go about accessing your superannuation. Now, they labelled this as a dumb question, but it's actually a very good question, and it's something that's not understood by a lot of people. So in today's video, I thought I'd clear it all up for you and explain exactly how you go about accessing your super. Hello guys, it's Brad here from The Guided Investor, and if you're new here, welcome. And you should consider hitting that little subscribe button because I release videos like this one every single week. Okay, so accessing your super. Where do we start? Let's start with your preservation age. Your preservation age is the minimum age at which you can access your super. And it's going to be somewhere between 55 and 60, depending on your date of birth. So once you've met preservation age, you're going to have either full or partial access to your superannuation depending on your working status. If you've met preservation age and you've permanently retired from the workforce, then you can access as much or as little of your super as you wish to. There's no restrictions on it. If you've met preservation age but you're still working, then you only have partial access to your super. And the way you have partial access is through what's called a transition to retirement pension, which basically lets you take up to 10% each financial year of your superannuation balance. Now, there's a lot of moving components with a transition to retirement, so I'm not going to go over it in this video, but I will do a future video discussing it in detail. It's not until you reach age 65 that your super is fair game, regardless of your working status. So at 65, even if you're working full time, you have full access to your super balance. Okay, so you're keeping up so far? Find your preservation age. If you're above preservation age, but below age 65 and still working, you have partial access to your superannuation. If you're above preservation age, but below age 65 and have retired permanently, then you have full access. If you're above age 65, then you have full access to your super regardless of your working status.
Simple!
So the next logical thing to consider is, once you're eligible to access your super, how do you actually go about getting the funds? And there are two ways to do this. Now I've got these little buckets here to help explain how this works a little bit better. And I initially was going to go down to the bank and get out some money and chuck some real money in there to make it a better effect, but I thought, Brad, that is a stupid idea. So we're using Monopoly money. So the first way to get access to your money is to withdraw it as a lump sum. Now think of your superannuation as a bank account. All you need to do is complete a withdrawal form, send it into your super fund, and they will take the money out and put it into your nominated bank account. Now you don't need to withdraw all the money in one hit, you can take as much or as little as you like. But keep in mind before you withdraw any money that if you change your mind, you might not be able to get it back into super, because there are contribution eligibility requirements that you need to meet. The second method is to convert your super into an account-based pension. This is where you take the money from your superannuation account and you convert it to a pension account. Now, once you've set up your pension account, you'll nominate regular withdrawals from your pension into your nominated bank account. Now, there are numerous benefits of using the pension method, with the main one being tax. So when you have a full account-based pension, not a transition to retirement pension, any investment earnings within the fund are completely tax-free. So there's no tax on interest payments, no tax on dividends, no tax on capital gains. It's pretty cool. Also, you're free to take additional lump sum payments out on top of the nominated pension amount. There's no restriction on it. There are a few things to consider before starting a pension, one of them being the transfer balance cap, which limits how much you can put into a pension account every single year. And the other one being, there is a minimum drawdown required from your pension. Now, the amount of pension that you have to draw down is gonna depend on your age. Okay, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground already, so I'm gonna give you time to take that all in, and I need a coffee. Good. I love coffee. Now, under both the lump sum method and the pension method, there are tax implications that you have to take into consideration if you withdraw the funds under the age of 60. I won't go into these in great detail now because the video is going to be way too long, but just keep in mind that if you're under the age 60 and you're thinking about withdrawing your super, have a look at the tax implications first. Also, if you already have a pension in place and you're thinking about making changes to that pension, stop and consider the Centrelink implications first. If you decide to start a pension, the pension is only going to continue as long as there is money still left in your account. Once your pension account is empty, the pension payments stop. So we've talked about accessing your superannuation for retirement purposes, but there are also certain circumstances where you can access your super early, prior to preservation age. So the first one is financial hardship. You may be able to access a portion of your superannuation if you can show that you've been on government income payments for a minimum of 26 weeks and you're still unable to meet reasonable and immediate living costs. The maximum amount you can get under financial hardship is $10,000, providing there's that much in your superannuation to take. The second way you can access your superannuation early is under compassionate grounds. This is where they'll release funds for certain medical treatments, to prevent the foreclosure on your house, helping to deal with disability, or helping to deal with the death of a dependent. Now, you're not guaranteed to get payment under compassionate grounds. You need to lodge your case with your superannuation trustee, who will consider each case individually. You can also get early release of your superannuation if you have a terminal medical condition and you have the medical records to prove it. There is also an early release condition under the First Home Buyer Super Saver Scheme. This is a scheme which uses superannuation to help first home buyers save a deposit for a house. And again, this is quite involved, so I'm not going to go over it in detail in this video. So guys, as you can probably tell, accessing your superannuation is one of the more complicated areas of advice. Now, I'm all for people doing their own DIY financial plan. After all, who better to trust with your money than you? But in this area, you need to do a lot of research before you make any moves. This video covers off some of the areas which I think are important, but I haven't covered off everything. For instance, defined benefit pensions, you know, they're pretty unique, but they're out there. And the other problem is the government are always changing the rules. So you need to make sure you keep up to date with what's happening. So if you can't be bothered working it all out yourself, then I'd highly recommend you go and seek some professional advice. All right guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please smash the like button and I'll see you in the next one.